Hi, welcome back to Christine's Home Affairs. I have another very quick beginner-friendly project for you today. I've been doing lots of quick ones lately, and this one is very easy to do as well. It's just a little dilly bag, one handle. You can carry it over your wrists. This would be a perfect one for a young child to carry their favourite toys in, boys and girls alike. And it's got a draw cord on the side as well. Fully lined and just a couple of pieces of fabric. I've got Mum on her way up today and I wanted to try and get a really quick project in before she turns up. So let's see if I can get this finished. All right, here's what we're going to be using today. I have some cord. This is just a macrame cord, but you can use any type of cord. This product here is a hemming tape. It's a double-sided fusible tape. It's most often used just to fold over your fabric and hem two pieces and fuse the two sides together. In the US, it's known as stitch witchery. In the UK, it's known as bonder web. It's also known as a Vilene hemming tape. If you have applique paper, then you can actually peel the paper off, and this is what you'll find in between. We have a piece of fabric for the handle. We only need one. This is 15 by 4 inches or 38 centimetres by 10 centimetres. We have two pieces of outer fabric and two pieces of lining fabric, and they measure 11.5 by 10 inches. And I think that's about all we need. Let's take one of our outer pieces. This is the short side and this is the long side here. From the top edge, we're going to make a mark 2 inches down or 5 centimetres on each side. So remember, this is the longer edge. And from there, we're going to come up 2 centimetres or 3/4 of an inch. And then what you'll do is you'll take both outer pieces of fabric, place those right sides together, and we're going to sew from the top here to the pin, back stitch, leave an opening just here, start again with a back stitch here, sew to the end, across, back up, back stitch, leave this open, back stitch and go to the end again. So we can sew that one together, and for the lining fabric we're going to place them right side together, and on one side we'll leave a small opening for turning through. So start at the top here. We're going to leave this top section open. We'll start here, come down here, back stitch, same again here, come around, down, across, and we'll sew that together as well. And with the handle, you want to fold the raw edges into the center and then fold those edges in again, and that will enclose all your raw edges. The ones on the end don't matter. Give that a really good press. Once you've done that, take your stabilizer. Now you don't have to use any at all. This is such a lightweight project. It really doesn't need to have anything, but I'm going to place this on the two center folds here. Fold that fabric over and that one, and then I'll fold this over again, take that to the iron and fuse that together. I'll go and do that now and show you how it looks when I come back. So once you open this fabric out again, I can open out the first fold but not the second, because that fusible product has fused those layers together. And that's what makes it perfect for hemming. Now we can go to the machine with this one as well and sew down both long edges. So we'll do that, the lining and the outer fabric. Let's do the handle first. Go back to the top and do the other side. Set that one aside. I'm just using a 1/4 inch seam allowance today, or 6 millimeters. Starting at the top edge, back stitch, This is the side I'm going to leave an opening for in the lining. Doesn't need to be much of an opening. I've only got about 3 fingers width. Backstitch here, and you work. Move on forward, and we'll backstitch again here. And we'll just go all the way around. And then with the outer fabric, once again we're going to start at the top edge, sew up to the first pin, backstitch, and then starting at the second pin, and stop at that first pin with a backstitch and move on up to the second mark and finish. All right, we've got our bag sewn up. I've got my opening just in the side there, and I've got an opening along this side here for turning the bag through. We need to mark some boxed corners. We might as well do that now. I'm going to make these boxed corners 4 centimeters or 1.5 inches. We've got stitching line along the bottom and on the side, so we're going to take that measurement from the stitching line, not from the raw edge on the outside. Repeat for the other side. And for the lining. It's up to you if you want to mark the other side. If you've never done this before, it's recommended that you do mark both sides. Then you can see where everything's supposed to line up. And it's really only important for the corner here to match up. And you'll see what I mean in a moment. Separate the front and back and pinch the fabric at the corner of that square on this side as well. And when you pinch that out, it's going to give you a nice straight line for sewing across. And you want this seam and this seam to line up. And you can always check that with a pin by just passing a pin through the stitching and coming out on the other side. And that pin has come through in line with the stitching. So from corner to corner here, place a pin in there, and you'll sew straight across here. Repeat for this side, and you'll repeat for the lining as well. I've only got one side marked on the lining, because when you get used to this, you can just eyeball it. Let's sew up those corners. Okay, we can trim off the corners now. Just cut about 1/4 inch away from the stitching line. We have our box corners finished. Before we can put the lining and the outer fabric together, we need to grab our handle and we need to find the center of our fabric. This is only having one handle today, and match up the side seams here. So we've got our side seam right along here. Fold the fabric out and mark a crease to find the center on the back and front of the bag. Once you've done that, you can place your handles there. So after opening out that crease, I've made a mark just here and on the other side as well, and the handle can go right over the top. So the raw edge, clip that in place, and then just keeping your handle nice and straight, pop it over the other mark we've made. Just centre it evenly, and that single handle will sit to the inside of the bag, and we can go and stitch straight across the top edge of the handle. I'm going to do that quickly now for you. When I do that, it'll be less than 1/4 of an inch. I just want to secure it in place so that I can go on to the next step. I'll be right back. Okay, that handle is in place now. What we can do on the side seam where that little opening is, this is for the outer fabric, just press the seam open, and we've got that tiny little opening just inside there, and we'll press the other side open as well. So there's our little opening just here. For the lining, we can do the same. And this is just to help you find a crease later when you're sewing the lining closed. You can open out the seam, just finger press that in place here, and you'll have a nice crisp edge, which will help you when you're sewing this closed. Let's take the lining, turn that the right way out, and we're going to place that inside the outer fabric. Line up the two side seams. So in this case, I've pressed my seams open, secure that, and then find the other side and line up the straight edge if you're stitching with the straight edge on this side. And then you can just pull the fabric taut, line up the center where the handle is, and then evenly pin or clip it together. Same on the other side. You'll need to lift the handle to keep it nice and straight. Now that that's all clipped together, we can take this back to the machine, and with the same 1/4 inch seam, we're going to sew all the way around. I prefer to start on a side seam. Keep your handle nice and straight when you get to it. Okay, let's find the opening in the lining and turn this the right way through. I'm also going to iron the lining and the outer fabric away from each other. That will help give me a nice edge when I put the lining inside the bag and top stitch. That's been pressed nicely. I'm now ready to put the lining to the inside of the bag. Before I do that, I'm going to pinch the edges together on the side here, and I'll just clip that in place. I'll tuck the lining to the inside. I'm going to do the top stitching first, and then when that's done, I'll stitch this closed. So line up the edges all the way around the top, and then I'm going to turn my bag inside out. The reason I turn mine inside out is because I have a flatbed machine and I can't take the free arm off it. When I sew, I need to be able to see the outer fabric facing up. So I'll be sewing along here, doing that top stitch. If you have a flatbed machine and you can take off the free arm, then you can actually just put this right around your machine and have your outer fabric facing the outside and sew that way. That's the only reason why I have to turn my bags inside out. Once again, I will start sewing on the side seam. With the top edge done, I can take this side seam on the lining, pull the outer fabric out, and sew really close to the edge. We're almost done. Let's put the lining back inside the bag, find the side seam and open the bag out so that you can see that side seam, and find that little hole that we have in the side. Make a mark at the top of the opening and another one at the bottom. So our opening is in here. We'll repeat on the other side, and that will measure about 2 centimetres or 3/4 of an inch from the top, and about 1.5 inches or 4 centimetres from the top. Once you've marked those lines, grab a straight edge of your ruler here and mark a stitching line on the top of the opening and another one at the bottom. Turn the bag around and we'll continue that line up to the side seam where we've marked the other lines. Flip it over and we've got these lines on this side here. They can meet up with the lines on the side seam here. Now that we've got that channel marked all the way around, we're going to go back to the machine and sew along both of these lines, and we'll be sewing both layers of fabric together. Let's do that. I'm at the side seam again. This is the little opening that we have here. That'll be for the cord. As long as we don't sew that closed, everything's going to be just fine. And we'll do the same for the other row. Alright, there's our finished bag. We've done the 2 rows of stitching along here. We've just got the cord to put in. We need 2 pieces. This measures about 9 inches across. We have to double that, that's 18 inches. And then allow an extra couple of inches or so. So we want about 20 inches or 50 centimetres twice. Grab a bodkin or a safety pin, something to draw the cord through. At this opening here, we'll go in on one side. And when you get to the other side, you want to keep on going. So don't come out there, just keep on going. Right back to the beginning. And come out where you started. And then you can tie your cord off. If you've got some nice toggles or wooden buttons, they'd look really nice on here as well, but we will just tie this one off. Trim it and fluff it up. So we put the cord in on this side the first time. We're going to do the same, but we're coming in from the other side now. Once you get to the other side, keep on going. And come out where you began. And then we can tie up this end. And trim it. And zhuzh it up. And we are completely finished. And there's our cute little drawstring dilly bag. Perfect to just hang over your wrist. Well, I managed to finish it before Mum got here. She should be arriving any second. That's a cute little bag, isn't it? Just pull the cord. You've got a nicely secured bag. You can store your craft bits in there. You can have a couple of little coin pouches and your phone in there. and just parade along down your favourite shopping strip. Fabric's gorgeous, isn't it? Even though this is a very quick project, I don't think I'll be making these for the shop. I've just got so much other sewing I have to do. I really don't have time. So no, I won't be making these for the shop, at least not at this stage. But this one I'll end up probably pricing at about $15 or $20 and putting it in there just as a one-off. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I shall catch you next time. Bye for now.